Racing to the 2021 Breeders' Cup, and this time we go to the spa Saratoga for the marquee feature of the meet, the Whitney Stakes, a Grade 1 race again for older horses. We're going to take an early look as this race will be run on Saturday. A very high resume field starting to look at this race, led by Maxfield. Most recently, he won the Stephen Foster. He's only lost one race in his career. And Maxfield, we'll talk more about him in depth, going to be tasting on possibly Knicks Go, Swiss Skydiver. And this field also going to have By My Standards, the second place finisher in the 2020 Whitney. Imperative, a recent winner at Monmouth. And Happy Saver still on the fence. It could be a 6 or 7 horse field kind of lining up, and let's take a look at this potential field. Starting off with Maxfield, his one loss was on a 3-week turnaround. After winning at the fairgrounds, he tried to ship out west, and he lost in the Grade 1 Gold Cup. And that was still a good effort. It was a 1.25 miles. It was his first 1.25 miles effort, and again, I mentioned off the ship and stretching out 10 furlongs. That was a pretty big ask for Maxfield. Since that race, he's come back with back-to-back wins and has solidified himself as one of the top 3 older horses in the United States. Now, Knicks Go lost a couple of races, lost overseas, and then lost in the Met Mile as the favorite. Picked up a big victory the last time out at Prairie Meadows. He went there for the barbecue, picked up a nice big speed figure. But that speed figure was earned under a couple of circumstances. He really was the class of the race. Nobody was able to apply any of that mid-race pressure. And Knicks Go so far seems to be the alpha type horse. When he's clearly the best horse in the race, he wins the race. And of course, Knicks Go, brilliant last year in the Breeders' Cup Mile. Can he go 1.125 miles against proven Grade 1 horses and some quality horses in this race? Swiss Skydiver, the filly, she beat the boys last year in the Preakness Stakes. She beat eventual Breeders' Cup Classic winner Authentic. Swiss Skydiver struggled in her most recent race. Combination of factors. She had to ship out west, shorter distance, and I thought the ride in that race was a little bit unusual. Then she was pointing for a race at Belmont, spiked a fever, skipped that race. She's been training forwardly, and Swiss Skydiver going to take on the boys again for the big purse. Grade 1, this would be quite an accomplishment if Swiss Skydiver can win this race. All he does is win. That's Silver State, 6 straight wins. Trainer Steve Asmussen been pointing him in the right spots. As a 4-year-old, you know, he showed some potential as a 2-year-old. Some people had them on their 3-year-old list, horses to watch for the Kentucky Derby. Disappointed at Oaklawn, came back this year with a nice string of victories. And this is an example of a horse getting some nice wins, stringing them along, getting some confidence, and then they're gradually raising him up in class. His Met Mile victory was more workmanlike over By My Standards. He got a good trip, came inside on the turn. Knicks Go really didn't fire in that race, and he beat Mischievous Alex, who was trying to stretch out to 1 mile, and that didn't work out. Now, Silver State, definitely going to be taking some money in this spot. By My Standards, in a small Whitney field last year, a 5-horse field, and the big favorite in that race, Tom's DeTot, broke last, and that really altered the pace of the race. Improbable went to the lead. By My Standards was put on that chase all the way around, finished second. I think By My Standards working out strongly. They've been looking for a Grade 1 victory for 2 years now. Last time around, just couldn't do it last year against Improbable. Now faces a little bit tougher overall field. The quality of this field definitely better than last year's field, a little bit bigger and a little bit deeper. And By My Standards has always been sitting kind of on that Grade 1 level. I'd like to see him get a victory here because he's faced some good horses. He's ran some good races. He's probably working out better than everybody, and I think he's a 1.125 mile horse. I'm not sure he's a 1.25 mile horse. He faltered last year in the Breeders' Cup Classic, and he just kind of seems to be a 1.125 mile horse. I kind of think the same thing about Silver State and Swiss Skydiver. I think the only true 1.25 mile horse out of these horses is really Maxfield. Knicks Go is going to potentially, if he wins this race, but I think 1.125 miles is his best distance. Imperative long shot victory at Monmouth Park. He's here to maybe pick up some pieces late, run 3rd or 4th, pick up a check, as I just don't think he has the speed figures to compete with the top horses in this race. Now, pace-wise, I think Swiss Skydiver You know, she was forwardly placed in that Preakness Stakes. She was forwardly placed in a couple of other big victories against the girls. Went wire to wire at Gulfstream Park. She's got some tactical speed, and I think she could be on the lead. Also, Knicks Go has done some great running on the lead, but at 1 1/8, I'm not so sure he can blow the field away. So who goes to the lead? That's going to be a big decision and question mark in this race. And then your pressers. Silver State's going to get a dream trip. I think By My Standard is going to get a good trip. And then Maxfield, he's been coming from behind when he's been the class of the race. He's made these sweeping wide moves in the last 2-3 races. And even out when he lost out west, he went too wide, made an early premature move in that race. Maxfield, he doesn't want to give up too much ground, but I think he is the true 1 1/8 horse in this race. He's going to probably sit 4th or 5th early, maybe even close, and then Imperative's going to be at the back of the pack, but I don't think he's going to make a dent late. So I think that early speed, Swiss Skydiver versus Knicks Go, and then I think who makes the move first? By My Standards or Silver State? Silver State got the jump on By My Standards in the most recent race in the Met Mile, but this time around, By My Standards maybe could get that jump earlier. I think pace dynamics of this race is going to make it interesting. My overall selection is going to be Maxfield. I think he's the class of the race. I think he's a true 1 1/8 horse. I'm going to play him in straight exactas over Silver State and Swiss Skydiver. I think Knicks Go is going to be overinflated by that speed figure last time out at Prairie Meadows, and I'm just not sure he's a 1 1/8 horse. He hasn't had that same kind of trips and pace dynamics as he had last year in a dominating campaign. Who do you like in the Whitney Stakes at Saratoga? Leave a comment below. Maxfield, Silver State, Swiss Skydiver, and Knicks Go are the main contenders. By My Standards, nothing to be slacking with him as well. We race you up to the Breeders' Cup. Hit that subscribe button, leave a comment, smash that like button so we get more viewers of this video, and we'll race you up to the Breeders' Cup.